picked grapes in front of me, and my father picked grapes behind me, with my siblings scattered around me. I imagined that the kind of grapes that made this wine were the kind of grapes that I touched and soiled with my blood once. Being undocumented, my family was used to hiding from the Migra, the INS, Immigration Nationalization Services, or Homeland Security, or whatever the hell you want to call it now. That one particular day, I stopped to admire a bunch of grapes that were hanging so beautifully, as though God had hung them for me to pick. Maybe it was the way the rays of sunlight hit them during the magic hour that made them so unique to look at amid the many bunches of grapes. They looked so purple, so plump, and soft, and just perfect. When I held the bunch in my two hands, I felt as though I was carrying a newborn baby, or a warm heart. My father came by and tapped me on the head and ordered me to get back to cutting. Fast, just cut, he barked. I quickly grabbed my small knife and was about to cut the stem of the beautiful bunch of grapes when a distant, desperate voice yelled, "Rita!" I was startled and accidentally buried the knife in my hand. The blood dripped down my hand and onto the grapes. My blood was deep red. It looked like wine dripping out of me. I yelled and my father put his hand over my mouth to shut me up. I wanted him to hold me and comfort me. But instead he scolded me, "Cállate!" Seconds later he whispered loudly, "Vámonos!" When he took his hand off my mouth, I licked my hand to stop the blood. Then I heard everyone running amongst the grapevines. "Córrele!" my father yelled, ordering his tribe to run away. I yanked the bunch of grapes and took off running with my family. My hand kept bleeding and my blood dripped on the dirt, leaving a trail. I put the bunch of grapes in my bleeding hand to keep the blood from falling out of me. My hand throbbed and the cut felt like it was getting bigger as we ran from the Border Patrol officers in the distance yelling, "INS!" My mother found a run-down shack covered with vines and bushes blending into a hill, camouflaged by the greenery. We all ran toward it and hid inside. We lay low on the dirt. My blood kept dripping on the dirt. No one noticed that I was bleeding and hurting because they were holding their breath, trying not to make a sound, trying to be invisible. We all looked at one another and sang in prayer that we didn't get caught or separated. I rubbed my hand against the dirt to clog up my cut with dirt. It stung at first, but I finally made it stop. After an hour waiting in silence, I got hungry and took my bunch of grapes soiled by my blood and ate one grape. I didn't care that it had my blood on it. I licked it clean. It could have been that I was just so hungry, but eating that beautiful purple grape comforted me. Since there was no one there to hold me, the grapes comforted me. They numbed the pain of being cut and then ignored. I continued to eat the grapes, and each grape I ate was a prayer to God. The largest grape was for my mother and then for my father. I prayed for each one of my siblings so that we would pick enough fruit and vegetables so that we could leave this type of work and get an apartment in the city and never go hungry again. I opened my eyes and I saw the wine glass in front of me. I chuckled because after that memory, I did not know what to write down. So I simply wrote on my chest, "I smell the earth." And so for me, actually, when I read, I keep discovering what this novel is every time I read it because a lot of writing is unconscious, a lot of it is unconscious. And I cry because I realize, how much when you grow up undocumented, when you grow up barely surviving, how much of your emotional self you have to sacrifice to survive. And it is a part of me that now is in a place spiritually that I can go reclaim these parts of myself. And in writing this novel, I feel like there was this little girl that felt very neglected and had to go towards food to feel loved. And there's a part of me that feels like, as I read this and share this with you, I get to reclaim the self and I get to go back to that 8-year-old girl and give her love as I read this book with you.
This is not a question, this is a statement. We need you to direct. And when will that be?
That's very interesting because I think you have some exciting news. Well, I am a theater director already. I've been trying to direct since I was 21. What has happened is no one would produce my plays, so I decided to become a theater producer. And again, I set out just to be an actress. And life was calling me to be bigger than that. And so I had to take up producing, and I do just about everything in my theater, but I'm also, I think I have to produce so that I can direct. It's unfortunate that, like, you know, unless you put your money down, which I could, a lot of things don't happen unless you're producing. And I'm at that level now that I go, you know what? Even with all the success I've had, I still get so many people telling me that my stories are not commercial. I see there's so much rejection that to me when people think I'm like this amazing screenwriter, I have this exciting screenwriting career, I go, oh my God. The truth is I get rejected all the time, and I have written maybe like 10 movies. I've written like maybe 9 TV pilots of all about Latino shows, and none of them has gotten. I've been working in the business for 20 years, and only one movie has gotten made so far. And so for me, I'm at the point now where I go, you know what? It's not about becoming a better writer or a better artist. It's about like people just don't get it, or they don't see it, or why should I wait for someone to make all this money off my people when I could go create those projects and say, fuck it, I'll keep the money for myself and just go create those projects as I get it. So yes, I definitely want to be a film director, but it is, no one's going to put their money down and just let you direct unless you put your money down and produce. So yes, thank you for that. Other questions? Yes.
I just have a comment as well, and I just want to let you know that you're just really inspirational. I think that's just enough said, and it makes me emotional.
Thank you, and thank you. I really take it, and some people go, oh, you're probably tired of it, and I think, no, I don't, because I've had so many doors shut on me. I've had so many insensitive things told to me by Hollywood executives, men, so many insensitive things that one Latina who tells me, it's like when I want to give up, I go, I remember all these women who told me, and I can't give up. So I really appreciate your acknowledgement. I think it's very important that as women and as Latinos that we constantly acknowledge each other and keep going, because I'm going to write a memoir about all the rejection. Next June will be my 20-year anniversary of being in the business. And I just want people to know the horror stories, and that's why I have to quit almost every 2 to 3 years I have to give up and go to teach global design, go to cooking school, go to Vegas, do something else and get out of the business, because it's really heartbreaking. So I just try to go be awakened my senses, go come back alive, and then I come back and I fight again. I've had the privilege of meeting so many extraordinary women that the women I write about, to me, are just women I know, but I guess in Hollywood standards, these women don't exist yet. And then that's how come people don't get it. And because they also don't get into this paradigm of like a woman fitting a role to be a male fantasy. Like I want to write about older women. I want to create roles for someone like Lupe Riveros. I want her to get laid on screen. I want to see her have sexual ecstasy. And I just sitting up, with her señorita. To me, that's progress. And those are the kinds of roles I want to write for no finance. Because the first thing they'll say is, oh, she doesn't have a name, and who wants to see an old woman get laid? I said, well, I do, because I want to be that old woman getting laid at 60 or 70. And I want to create the kind of reality where women get sexuality at whatever age, And so I want to create roles of the future, things that we haven't seen yet. And so sometimes when you're a visionary, it takes 10 years for people to catch up to you.
Do you see yourself as a Chicano role model?
That's a good question. Do I see myself as a Chicano role model was the question. When people use the word role model, I'm flattered that people should use that word to describe it, but I don't call myself a role model, because aspiring to be a role model is aspiring to some kind of result. And it's about saying, oh, well then I'm more concerned about what people think of me than about me living with my truth and being authentic with myself. Because there will be things that I will do, like I really want to challenge a lot of sexual taboos. And in some parents' eyes, they may think, oh, okay, so some kid is, she's wicked, or how dare she, So I don't aspire. If you want to hook on to me as a role model, that's great. But I just aspire to live with my truth. I just know that at night I get to go, you know what? Today, I did the best I could, and I lived with dignity, and I really love me. I look in the mirror, and so to me, I am my heroine. I am my role model. But I don't aspire to be other people, because I don't, people will think whatever they want of me, and whatever they think of me is really what's inside of them. So